What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
But I'll hand it to you, HINATA. You are attractive. If you'll be my lady, I promise I'll take good care of you as a concubine. You know?
Oh, man. Now he's dead. Hinata's expression didn't change. She was the cool, reserved beauty she always was. But the colder she looked on the outside, the more her insides raged like bubbling magma. Her patience amazes me, it really does. I would have lost it hours ago.
Now, General Reiner. Isn't that going a little too low? But I'm interested in the Demon Lord as well. I wouldn't want you to have him all to yourself, you know. What do you think?
I felt an indescribable chill run down my spine. Was this Gabon guy coming on to me? The thought, and this man, sickened me, and after today's events, it'd take a lot to move me at all. Good thing he was far away from me, because otherwise, I might have clocked him just now.
Prince ELRICK, as the Prince of Anglacia, are you willing to allow this man, Sir Reiner, to say such things?
Hinata hid the anger in her cold voice as she asked the question. ELRICK just smiled.
HINATA, if you had cooperated with me, I would have given you much more honorable treatment. If you wish to blame anyone, blame yourself for angering Reiner. And yes, I forgot to mention this, but Reiner is more powerful than an A-ranked adventurer. And he's not alone.
With that, ELRICK snapped his fingers. The door immediately opened once more, revealing a man in black, another in a green robe, and a group of people in overcoats with a familiar emblem on them. Come to think of it, I knew the first guy, too. It was Gaia, the dude who got his head cut off by Delta the Dryad. And those overcoat guys were definitely Green Fury, the team our avatars waged a life and death battle against. So was the green robe guy part of the Sons of the VELDT? He was hooded and wearing a scarf over his face, making for a mysterious, unknown figure, but he acted all upper class, so I figured he maybe ran the VELDT or something.
Allow me to make some introductions. This is Sir Gaia, an A-ranked adventurer and now Reiner's aide-de-camp. And this...
ELRICK placed a hand on green robe guy's shoulder. The theatrics made it clear just how self-absorbed he was.
Is the leader of the world-famous mercenary group, the Sons of the VELDT. I assembled as powerful of a team as I could, as I thought defeating a demon lord with anyone less worthy would be poor manners. Yes, you see, there are dozens of people like you running around here. Just because you have a little strength to your name, you know, doesn't give you the right to act like a king.
He certainly had confidence, and if he wanted a fight, I was happy to give it to him.
Report. Doing so would have a 100% chance of damaging your reputation.
Right? Even to me, a demon lord starting a fight in front of such an influential audience seemed like a poor idea. And my policy was to fight a challenger only after they conquered my labyrinth. If I started bending that rule for no good reason, I'd have to duke it out with every idiot I passed by on the street. And what's more, someone in the chamber was angrier than me. People are strange that way. If someone else gets angry first, that actually has a calming effect on you.
Let me ask you, Prince ELRICK. What you are doing is antagonizing not only me, but the entire Western Holy Church.
Said Hinata.
Are you prepared to accept the consequences?
No need to worry, I will not cause any trouble for the Western Holy Church, nor for the Holy Empire of Lubelius. Just sit there and watch, and I will guarantee your safety.
Seeing Hinata fight to keep her cool, I forgot all about how angry I was. But from the chairman on down, there were counselors attempting to defy ELRICK's group. We weren't alone in the lion's den here, we hadn't been rejected by the council. These were just some idiots gone out of control. Maybe it wasn't worth getting worked up about.
That is not the issue. I have been asked by the council to attend this session as an impartial observer. My role is to ensure its proceedings remain fair, and I am thus in no position to let your recklessness go unanswered. If this was the council's will, that would be a different story, but please don't expect I will allow a single person to act out of line like this.
Given their relative positions, Hinata was trying to reason with ELRICK first. I doubted it'd work much. The words just weren't reaching him.
Lady Hinata is right. This nonsense will not be tolerated in the chamber.
Prince ELRICK, I heard nothing about this. And Sir Gaben, do you expect no repercussions from this?
Lord Rimuru himself came out here for us. This treatment is going to spark an international incident.
This is unforgivable. Is this how the Kingdom of Anglacia oppresses its people?
Rage, anger, ranting, more and more counselors were putting up a fight. Now I felt like I was in a theater, watching the events unfold from my seat. My starring role might have been taken from me, but I didn't care.
Without fairness, can you call it a council at all?
Now the chairman was shouting. I cheered him on in my mind. Keep it up.
Shut your mouths, old men. You can simper all you want once I've taken control of the Demon Lord.
Reiner, meanwhile, was already up on his imaginary victory podium. He had already riled HINATA past the point of no return, so I doubted I needed to do anything. I figured we'd just ignore him.
Prince ELRICK, our agreement only covered our bodyguard services for you alone. Any hazardous behavior you engage in would void our agreement.
Whoa, so the sons of the VELDT leader wasn't in on this? And here I had bunched them all together in my mind. Good thing I learned the facts in time.
Yes, the Demon Lord Rimuru is the most dangerous figure I can personally think of. That labyrinth he created is crawling with all kinds of insane creatures. You'd have to be a madman to come up with it.
Should I take that as a compliment? Maybe all that fighting was worth it after all. The elementalist leading Green Fury was almost too scared of me now.
Nonsense. You cowards do nothing but get in my way.
Ah, but Guy is in the same boat with Reiner, eh? They seemed pretty alike, overconfident and turning a deaf ear to all outside opinion. He was flashing hateful looks at me now, although I really didn't know where the grudge came from. Either way, the chamber was one step away from erupting into full-fledged combat. ELRICK, taking charge in the midst of this stalemate, raised a hand.
Order. All of you, listen. Prince ELRICK is speaking.
Shouted Gabon, who had come down from the mezzanine to stand next to ELRICK. The prince nodded his approval, took a long, careful look around, and suddenly spoke.
Counselors, now is the time to express your will to me. Will you join us, the heroes who will slay the Demon Lord? Or will you side with that nefarious lord and betray humankind? I, Prince ELRICK von Anglacia, know in my heart that the representatives before me will make the correct choice.
He gloated like a stage actor.
What?
I reflexively replied.
We're gonna vote on it now?
The prince nodded back at me, like this was common sense. After that wacky entrance he made, he still wanted to try upholding his honor? Besides, if we held a vote right now, there's no way he'd win a majority of.
Why not? We must decide this democratically, by vote. Of course, I'm sure we hardly need to. The council, you see, is firmly on my side.
That piqued my interest. He was supremely confident, as if he already knew the results, which, if you thought about it, was ridiculous. Not even a prince could get away with this outrageous behavior in an international council like this. So why was he doing it?
Understood. He has likely bribed many of the counselors.
Ah, I knew it. But I didn't think he'd buy off representatives from foreign nations as well. It'd be an international scandal if it got out, so I discounted any possibility of that. Served me right for making the wrong assumption.
Now, let us decide, fairly and honestly. We are about to defeat and take rule over the Demon Lord. All in agreement, stand up.
As the prince's voice rang up to the rafters, several counselors rose to their feet with vile smirks. The collusion was obvious. Well, I suppose it's come to this. Even if today's turned out disappointing, I've got all the time in the world. If we've been rejected, then it's our duty to accept those results.
Report. There are no problems. This is within expectations.
It is? I was struck by the vision of Raphael letting a dark grin materialize on its visage. Come to think of it, Soe had done a lot of investigating, hadn't he? People's opinions of our nation, the financial states of all the countries, how the royalty and nobility approached them. He had even pored through the legislative proceedings of each member nation. Raphael had examined all of it in intricate detail, and inside my stomach, it had quickly created a set of documents for me. I took them out. It was a set of ledgers. Ooh, secret ledgers. Were these really within your expectations, Raphael? I couldn't believe this guy had actually found dirt on all the paid-off counselors. If I revealed these detailed lists of bribes given and received, I could take down everyone involved in one fell swoop. And now that I had incontrovertible evidence, this really was nothing more than a farce. That's Raphael for you. No stone left unturned. It was honestly scary.
Report. My lord will be victorious without needing to reveal that evidence.
Before I could figure out what it meant, the vote was over. Several counselors stood up and started clapping. Seeing this, ELRICK's voice boomed out again.
We have our results, and the council's majority agrees. The resolution has passed.
Gabon and Reiner had similarly sinister smiles as ELRICK gloated to the audience. They were ready to capture us at any moment, but not so fast. Fewer than a third of the council's members were actually on their feet. The majority were still sitting down. That fool ELRICK was so sure of his plan that he declared victory without even looking at the seats. Now the councillors clapping for ELRICK realized they were the minority. They nervously looked around, faces growing pale. The results were clear. The majority was against slaying the Demon Lord, in other words, me. Interestingly, I had more ledgers on me than the number of people standing up. They made up more than half the council, in fact, but I guess a lot of them had a sudden change of heart.
Understood. It is believed that, after removing the spiritual interference earlier, they have regained their consciences.
I see. They regained their wits and realized how foolishly they were acting. Excellent. It meant the people seated right now had weighed the issue fairly and decided to side with me. The bribes were apparently good enough for some of them, but...
Understood. It is believed that the spiritual interference stimulates the desires of its targets. It appears to exact a powerful coercive force on them.
I kinda sympathize with them, then. Between that and Masayuki's chosen one, mind-altering skills are a menace indeed. Masayuki had no control over it, but it looked like this skill user could target individual people. I didn't know who it was, but it was definitely someone to watch out for. That blonde dude, maybe? Well, at least the freed counselors saw the light in time. They all seemed friendly enough to me, so maybe I could keep quiet about the bribes. Really, though, if the fate of nations can ride on the choices of just a few counselors, I think there might be some issues with the whole council system. If organizations like the League of Nations or the United Nations can't keep themselves pure like that, it's only a matter of time before they go rotten. Corrupt representatives ruin the reputation of the nation they represent. If you're going to leave nations' destinies to individual personalities and dignities, then I wish they picked the counselors here a lot more carefully.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shoutout to Rambaru, Ice B, Rahul Subramanian, Pickle Rick, Joy Rivera, Mr. Jaha, Crystal Dizon, Lunarin, Ian Mana, and last but not the least, shoutout to Kamandag TV. I'll see you guys in the next video.